Hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather on this 29th day of May 2020. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show once again. Up first, we've got the breakup map for the 29th of May, and that's showing, of course, all the rivers now, including the Noatak, completely open. Noatak, Koyukuk, and of course all the southern rivers long past breakup. And the North Slope now, some open, or mostly open along the Colville River, and all the way open there, area up from Umiat upstream, and then not much ice even downstream from there. Some areas open out toward the Arctic coast. The Kaparik and Sagwan rivers both have some open the entire stretch of the way right on out to the coastline. Next up is the hazardous or the fire danger chart here, showing extreme fire danger today, kind of an elevation in conditions from what we had yesterday across much of the interior. Got extreme into the central interior, up along the Yukon River Valley to the Yukon Flats area, then on back down over toward Eagle, and high to very high fire danger westward across the Koyukuk into the at least the eastern Kobuk Valley, and then on down toward the Nolato Hills, and some extreme fire danger in the Kuskokwim Valley area there, northern Kuskokwim Valley, with high to very high fire danger right up to the Alaska Range. South central Alaska, less winds to sit in the valley today, so lost the extreme there that we had yesterday. But high to very high, Susitna, Manusca Valley into the Anchorage area, portions of the Kenai Peninsula, and also there for the central Copper River Basin. And from there, we'll go to the hazardous weather graphic, and the red area there in the central interior, that's for extreme fire danger. Red flag warnings out until 9 p.m. this evening, and that's for mostly breezy conditions, winds gusting as high as 25 miles an hour in some areas, with humidities down to around 20% and temperatures in the 70s, so that raises the potential for any ignition of fire to rapidly grow into something that's bigger and on the dangerous side. So from there, really that's the only that's the only warning out around the state for the next tonight and tomorrow, next 24 hours. No weather advisories, watches, or warnings for weather or any type of flooding anywhere around the state. So moving on to satellite imagery. Low pressure still spinning, but well to the southwest of the Panhandle. As you can see, had to kickstart the loop there. Clouds and showers, though, spread into the southeast coast, and that moisture spreading west-northwest into the southeast interior, coming out of Canada as well, and into Prince William Sound. Showers starting to increase again this afternoon. Haven't seen any reports of any thunderstorms yet over the eastern interior areas, but very spotty amounts of light rain there over the southeast interior. Panhandle, a little more in the way of measurable rainfall, but nothing too heavy. About 0.2 of an inch falling the last 12 hours at Hoonah. Angoon picked about 0.15, and then Petersburg about 1/10 of an inch. So just a cloudy kind of light shower day there today. Some areas not picking up any rain at all. But Eielson Air Force Base currently carrying light rain showers, and they've picked up about 0.05 of an inch of precipitation there just east of Fairbanks. And otherwise, sunshine over the interior, allowing temperatures to rise into the mid to upper 70s by mid-afternoon across much of interior Alaska, with 70s out towards the western interior as well. The Susitna Valley, 77 at Talkeetna is one of the warmer locations. Same time, Tanana had 76 degrees, while Fairbanks and Nenana both at about 75. Next, lower to mid-70s, quite prevalent at the Kenai Peninsula into the Manusca Valley Anchorage area and on down toward Bristol Bay. See clouds on the increase there at Kodiak Island, and a very weak front bringing a narrow band of light rain from Atka Island to possibly Nikolsky. Really not very much of a front, just clouds and a little breezy 25-mile-an-hour winds, and that's about it. But that was recorded on Alaska. But St. George, a little windier there. Had gusts of 35 miles an hour to the east-southeast. You can see clear skies just to the east of the Pribilof Islands. And it probably won't make it any farther west. Had kind of a variably cloudy day. Not a bad day there. Dry conditions, mostly sunny over the Alaska Peninsula. And sunshine all the way out to Nunivak Island. And it was just partly cloudy for St. Lawrence Island with high pressure, light winds there. But the interior, enough of a gradient. Some areas seeing gusts 20 to 25, 28 miles an hour. Especially any higher elevations, some scattered shower activity developing over the eastern Brooks Range, and mixed precipitation being carried at Kaktovik this afternoon, along with some fog, but amounts are very light. And for tonight, clouds, showers, and even chance of thunderstorms, Mananuska, Susitna Valley, isolated thunderstorms possible. Just a slight risk for the Chugach Mountains, a little bit better chance for the Talkeetnas, and an even better chance along and just south of the Alaska Range, northern Copper River Basin. Showers on the increased North Gulf Coast, showers spreading westward along with the clouds. Risk of a shower into the Iliamna area, maybe king salmon, risk of a shower developing for Kodiak with variably cloudy skies. High pressure at the surface should keep it mostly dry over the southern panhandle, but stay cloudy. Showers, better chances to the north. And remnant moisture with that front that's now just washed down into a trough, doing a slow dissolve there over the Alaska Peninsula eastern Aleutians for cloudy skies. Risk of a shower for St. George Island. St. Paul probably escaped with some clouds. And clouds, fog, drizzle, light winds for all of the Aleutians with pretty widespread IFR there, especially in the green shaded areas, but VFR northern Bering Sea with that offshore flow continuing. And low clouds, fog, eastern Arctic coast, maybe over the North Slope, but nothing too extensive. And that pulls back tomorrow. Should be mostly sunny, even out along the coastline on the east side there. And still a little breezy North Slope into the passes of the Brooks Range, maybe the central interior again, with mostly sunny skies, temperatures 60s to upper 70s, upper Yukon Valley into possibly the Tanana Valley. Thunderstorm threat again exists along that trough, Alaska Range, Delato Hills, maybe a little farther down the Kuskokwim River Valley area, but staying northeast of Bethel, and just a slight chance at that. Showers to the Kenai Peninsula and the Mananuska Susitna Valley, mostly cloudy tomorrow, a little cooler and showery and cool for the southeast coast, and unsettled, damp, and low clouds, fog, light rain, drizzle, and winds no more than 10 to 20 miles an hour in advance of that front over the eastern Aleutians to Pribilof Islands. And from there, taking a look at the second day of the weekend, Sunday, still looks mostly cloudy, southern half of Alaska, especially from the Alaska Range southward. Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, that weak low, mostly cloudy with scattered showers. Isolated thunderstorms possible now, mostly along that trough axis from the central Tanana Valley or toward Nenana in the Alaska Range, McKinley westward out there to the Yukon Delta. Otherwise, look for showers and rain along the North Gulf Coast. Even the Copper River Basin looks cloudy with areas of rain or showers for the day Sunday, and that extends right on down the southeast coast, tapering off to some scattered showers over the southern panhandle, but still pretty cloudy. 980 millibar low keeps it wet and breezy over the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians, with showers and clouds out over the western central Aleutian areas. Look for possible sunshine for the Pribilof Islands. Risk of showers, St. Lawrence Island. Lows tonight, mid to upper 20s, central eastern Arctic coast, 40s to lower 50s, central interior, lower 50s all the way down to the lower Yukon and Kuskokwim River valleys, with mid 40s out to the coastline. Bering Sea in the 30s, 30s to lower 40s for the Aleutians, and the southeast coast, 40s. Highs tomorrow, 50s to lower 60s for the southeast coast, back into the 70s over the central eastern interior, 70s all the way down to Bethel and possibly even in toward Togiak, highs near 70, and into the Seward Peninsula, Noatak Valley, highs maybe lower 70s, and then mid to upper 30s there for the eastern Arctic coast, near 50 for Point Lay, and in the 50s Kodiak Island and the North Gulf Coast. Low Sunday morning, about the same as what we'll see tomorrow morning, 20s for the Arctic coast there, upper 20s, and lower 50s, a little more prevalent now from the central interior down into the lower Yukon River Valley area, with mid 40s for Bristol Bay, south central Alaska, mid 40s for the Panhandle, near 40 for the Pribilofs, 33 there for St. Lawrence Island, followed by highs 70s in the central interior.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather graphics Saturday morning. Marginal VFR central eastern Beaufort Sea coast with some IFR right along the east side there. Otherwise, VFR all interior Alaska, the southeast coast, some marginal VFR along the outer coastline, Kodiak, some marginal VFR on the east side. And VFR, again, eastern Bering from the Alaska Peninsula right up to St. Matthew Island through the Bering Strait into the Chukchi Sea. Lots of IFR over the Bering Sea west of the Pribilofs, covering much of the Aleutians. That continues into the afternoon with marginal VFR right along the Pribilof Islands, otherwise good VFR again. Eastern Bering Sea, northern Bering Sea, maybe some marginal stuff forming Shishmaref, Tin City, Wales, up into maybe the northwest coast, Cape Lisburne, possibly Kivalina. Otherwise, VFR in the interior, increasing marginal VFR now Prince William Sound into the Copper River Basin, east side of the Kenai Peninsula, and stays VFR over the Panhandle, and just about VFR all of the North Slope and Arctic coast. And for Sunday morning, marginal VFR central eastern Beaufort Sea coast, IFR remaining offshore. VFR in the interior, but a little more moisture east and south of the Alaska Range, so marginal VFR, North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound into the Wrangels, Talkeetnas, possibly central Turnagain Arm, maybe the Matanuska Valley, and the eastern slopes of the western Alaska and Aleutian Ranges, Kodiak marginal, south side of the Alaska Peninsula IFR, and IFR pretty solid all the way out to Amchitka. And for Sunday afternoon, good VFR. Arctic coast, North Slope, into the northern interior, down the west side to Bristol Bay, good VFR conditions for Sunday afternoon. Maybe some marginal VFR through the Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island, VFR for the Pribilofs, and IFR west of Nikolsky to about Kiska Island, and around the south side of the central Alaska Peninsula, marginal for the Kodiak Island area, marginal VFR for the Panhandle, IFR, Cape Yakatagati, Yakutat, and marginal everywhere east and south of the Alaska Range. Some of that may spill into the North Waitok area, but it'll stay south of the Yukon River, well south of the Yukon River. And for passes tomorrow, Anatuvik and Atigan, good VFR. Both approaches, same thing for Lake Clark and Merrill, another VFR day. Rainy VFR. Windy looking good, VFR, either approach tomorrow as well as Isabel, VFR. Mentasta VFR, southern entrance, trending toward marginal VFR possibly, increasing cloud ceilings, lowering, and again could get down to that 3,000 foot mark possibly in the late afternoon. Otherwise, Tanita VFR with an increase in clouds in the afternoon, and Portage VFR becoming marginal VFR probably by early afternoon, and Chilkoot and White stay VFR. Freezing levels, 8,000 feet eastern interior there along the Yukon River to Eagle. Otherwise, about 6,000 to 7,000 feet elsewhere around mainland Alaska, 6,000 feet right down the Panhandle, and kind of some cooler air there from the Pribilofs down to the Alaska Peninsula and Falls Pass, and then back to 6,000 to 8,000 feet over the central Aleutian, south central Bering Sea. Icing, remnants of that frontal boundary, keeps a threat of some isolated moderate rime icing, Alaska Peninsula, maybe to St. George Island, Unalaska Island, and then some mixed icing possible over the southeast interior to possibly the Chugach Mountains, Talkeetnas, and the western Alaska Range areas. Moving on to the jet stream, upper level ridging, kind of pinching off across southern Alaska as that Gulf of Alaska low kind of drifts a little bit to the north there, and another low out over the western Aleutians, and a weak system near St. Lawrence Island, main high center there off the western Arctic coast. And for 9,000 feet south to southeast, 30 to 40 knots, central Bering Sea. Pretty light over the interior, and a little bit of a breeze trying to develop along the southeast coast, but nothing too significant. And low pressure south of the Gulf of Alaska, wind field basically away from the Panhandle, and light winds over the interior, maybe south of the Brooks Range, getting in a little brisk 10 to 20 knots out of the east-northeast. Otherwise, high pressure over the central Aleutians. And turbulence may be isolated moderate chop on the lee side of the Alaska range, the Alaska Peninsula, like to isolate moderate chop for the eastern Aleutians and eastern Beaufort Sea coast.
Why is plastic marine debris so common? We know there's trash in the ocean. Unfortunately, a lot of it is plastic. We find plastic everywhere, from the ocean floor to surface. The plastics are all shapes and sizes and all different types. We find plastics on beaches, and also inside animals' stomachs or wrapped around their bodies. That's bad news for our ocean and the animals that live in it and near it. It's also bad news for us. A recent study from the University of Georgia estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic trash enters the ocean every year. That's like putting 5 bags filled with plastic on every foot of coastline in the world. That's a lot of plastic in the ocean, and it's there because, well, we put it there. The 5 most common items found during the International Coastal Cleanup are plastic cigarette butts, food wrappers, plastic beverage bottles, plastic bottle caps, and plastic straws and drink stirrers. Notice anything in common with those? It's a lot of single-use, disposable plastic. It goes without saying, we produce too much waste. That waste ends up in the ocean when we litter or don't recycle. Plastic is an important part of our modern lives. We use it for a lot of good things. But we need to take responsibility for how much we use every day and where it goes when we're done with it. The 3 R's can help, and it's up to every single one of us to practice them. Reduce your use of disposable plastic. That's anything you use once and throw away. Just use less. Reuse disposable plastics when possible. A plastic bottle makes a great coin piggy bank or watering can. The possibilities are endless. Recycle anything that can be recycled so it stays out of landfills, where trash can blow away. Ocean plastic is a huge problem that's only going to get worse. Unless we change our ways, we can do better for the ocean and for us. Why is plastic marine debris so common? We know there's trash in the ocean. Unfortunately, a lot of it is plastic. We find plastic everywhere, from the ocean floor to surface. The plastics are all shapes and sizes and all different types. We find plastics on beaches, and also inside animals' stomachs or wrapped around their bodies. That's bad news for our ocean and the animals that live in it and near it. It's also bad news for us. A recent study from the University of Georgia estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic trash enters the ocean every year. That's like putting 5 bags filled with plastic on every foot of coastline in the world. That's a lot of plastic in the ocean, and it's there because, well, we put it there. The 5 most common items found during the International Coastal Cleanup are plastic cigarette butts, food wrappers, plastic beverage bottles, plastic bottle caps, and plastic straws and drink stirrers. Notice anything in common with those? It's a lot of single-use, disposable plastic. It goes without saying, we produce too much waste. That waste ends up in the ocean when we litter or don't recycle. Plastic is an important part of our modern lives. We use it for a lot of good things. But we need to take responsibility for how much we use every day and where it goes when we're done with it. The 3 R's can help, and it's up to every single one of us to practice them. Reduce your use of disposable plastic. That's anything you use once and throw away. Just use less. Reuse disposable plastics when possible. A plastic bottle makes a great coin piggy bank or watering can. The possibilities are endless. Recycle anything that can be recycled so it stays out of landfills, where trash can blow away. Ocean plastic is a huge problem that's only going to get worse. Unless we change our ways, we can do better for the ocean and for us.
is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Well, first, let's talk about what it's not. It's not a floating island of trash like a garbage dump or a landfill. It's also not the only patch. They exist all throughout the ocean, and the Pacific Garbage Patch just happens to be the most famous. Garbage patches are large areas of marine debris concentration that are formed by rotating ocean currents called gyres, kind of like big whirlpools that suck things in. A garbage patch is made up of tiny plastic pieces called microplastics that are less than 5 millimeters long. It's more like pepper flakes swirling in a soup than something you can skim off the surface. You might come across some larger items like plastic bottles, but it's possible to sail through a garbage patch and not see anything. And they're a big problem for the ocean and us. People often ask why we can't just scoop up all the marine debris in the ocean. And the answer is, unfortunately, it's just not that simple. The first challenge is the sheer size of these garbage patches. They're huge. They're constantly moving with ocean currents. And there's debris from the ocean surface all the way down to the sea floor. Not to mention all the marine life we would disrupt if we tried to just scoop up debris. So what can we do? Well, the ultimate solution is prevention. And we need to keep that as our highest priority. We can reduce, reuse, and recycle to keep trash out of the ocean in the first place. And we can participate in things like shoreline cleanups. It's a lot easier to deal with debris before it gets to the ocean. Because until we stop marine debris at the source, we'll just be cleaning it up forever.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis showing that area of heavier ice in Norton Sound there slowly thinning out day by day, and heavy ice north side of the St. Lawrence Island area, just about ice-free on the south side now, and thinning ice up through the Bering Strait. Coastal water forecast for the Panhandle: south winds 15 knots, 7-foot seas for Saturday, southeast 20 knots on the north coast. Inside waters, light southerlies for Lynn Canal at 10 knots, 2-foot seas, southeast 10 knots, 2-foot seas for Stevens Passage, and Clarence Strait, southeast of 10, seas 2 feet. Outlook for Sunday: inside waters, southerlies at 10 knots there from Clarence Strait up through Stevens Passage all the way to Lynn Canal and Glacier Bay. Along the coast, a little more of a breeze south at 20 knots with 7-foot seas. Extreme north coast looking at southeast winds at 20 knots with 7-foot seas. Prince William Sound, southeast winds 10 knots, 2-foot seas. The North Gulf Coast, northeast at 15 with seas running at about 6 feet. And then those winds turn easterly at 15 knots for the Barren Islands and then turn southeast, pick up to about 20 knots for Kamishak Bay, Cook Inlet, southerlies 15 knots, 4 to 5-foot seas. For Sunday, south to southwest 15 knots for Cook Inlet with 4-foot seas. East winds 20 knots with 6-foot seas for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands. Eastern North Gulf Coast winds will be out of the east at 20 with 6-foot seas, and Prince William Sound southeast 15, seas 3 feet. Western North Gulf Coast east winds at 15 knots and seas at 5 feet. Kodiak Island along the east side, light southeast breeze at 10 knots, 6-foot seas. Shelikof Strait looking at southwest winds midday and afternoon at 15 knots with 4-foot seas. Bristol Bay, southeast at 10. Small craft advisories for the Alaska Peninsula for 25-knot winds and seas 4 to 10 feet. Those even get stronger on Sunday. East-southeast for the peninsula at 30 knots, 8 to 13-foot seas. Small craft advisories from Castle Cape on up to Sitkinak, 25-knot winds there out of the southeast. Bristol Bay east at 20, northeast 20, Shelikof Strait, and then back to the east at 20 knots for Kodiak Island, those seas at about 8 feet. And for the Fox Island, southeast 20 knots, 20 to 25 knots. Small craft advisories for Unalaska Island, 7 to 11-foot seas. And Adak and Atka, east-southeast at 15. And northerly winds for the western Aleutians and Chitka to Shimya at 20 knots with 7 to 8-foot seas. For Sunday, northwest 20 to 25 knots for the western Aleutians and Adak and Atka area with seas running 7 to 10 feet. For the Fox Islands, kind of a east to northeast wind on the Bering Sea side of the islands there, 25 to 30 knots. Pacific side, kind of variable at 20 knots with 10 to 12-foot seas. And for the Pribilofs, tomorrow, small craft advisories, southeast 25 knots, 9-foot seas, and east-northeast at 10 to 15 knots for the southwest coast, east 20 for St. Matthew Island, northeast 15 to 20, Norton Sound, and St. Lawrence Island. For Sunday, north to northeast for those areas at 15 knots, Yukon Delta Coast, northeast 15, 20 knots out of the northeast for the Kuskokwim Delta Coast, and small craft advisories, northeast 30 knots for the Pribilofs with 9-foot seas. Eastern Boulevard Sea Coast, east winds 20 knots, also for the west side, Central Coast east at 15, north 15, Wells to Cape Thompson. Those will be even lighter, northeast at 10 there from Wells to Cape Thompson, but brisk wind advisories, northeast 25, turn east at 25 for much of the Beaufort Sea coast, lighter at about 20 knots for the Central Coast, but brisk wind advisories there for the entire eastern stretch to demarcation point. And for tonight, high pressure could lead to some low clouds and fog, especially on the east side, and not making it too far inland on the north slope. Mostly clear over the interior, and then chance of thunderstorms and showers, southern Alaska along that trough. Look for the showers to taper off over the southern panhandle, but continue over the northern areas. Chance of showers to the North Gulf Coast, and chance of light rain and drizzle and fog with IFR from the Pribilofs to the western Alaska Peninsula, covering much of the Aleutians with that weak set of systems. And not much change for Saturday out that way. Continued unsettled for the Bering Sea south of St. Matthew Island, mostly clear along the southwest coast. Chance of thunderstorms and showers, Tanana Valley southward, especially the Alaska Range, with showers down to the North Gulf Coast and the Panhandle. Sunday, warm and sunny in the north, a little breezy, all the way out to the Arctic coast. Risk of thunderstorms along the trough over the west central interior, showers and rain south central Alaska and the Panhandle. Have a great evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.